Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting year of Norfolk State University athletics here on NSUSpartans.com, fueled by Gatorade. I'm Ross Gordon, the play-by-play voice of the Spartans, as we get set for another exciting year of Norfolk State University football here at the 2013 MEAC Press Luncheon, where the football coaches and players get a chance to talk to the media and address some of their fans here later on at the Norfolk Waterside Marriott. Today, we'll have an opportunity to talk to head coach Pete Adrian as he'll talk about the team, his expectations, and how things are going to go this season. We'll also talk to Joe Hawkins, senior tight end, as well as Marcus Center, senior defensive back. Both had great years for the Spartans last year. Joe Hawkins named a preseason All-MEAC pick and the first team this year, and he has a lot of expectations for himself and a lot of expectations for this team. We'll also get you set for Norfolk State University football starting this month on the 31st of August as the Spartans take on Maine for the first time here at Dick Price Stadium. We'll send you all through the Norfolk State University Press Day right after this on NSUSpartans.com. I'm Ross Gordon, joined by the head football coach at Norfolk State University, Coach Pete Adrian. And Coach Adrian, it seems like this has now become a formality for you. This is your ninth season here at Norfolk State University. It doesn't seem that long.
No, but Ross, I do want to say it's always a pleasure being here with you. So I just want to make sure we keep that little thing going.
Oh, we shall, and hopefully it continues to use the biggest success this year. Let's talk a little bit about coming into this season. We knew what we had last year wasn't the year that you expected, and this offseason you've sort of seen some of your guys come back and say, hey, well, just like I didn't expect it, we want to be better next year.
There's no question about that. Of course, everybody has a good off season. Everybody's undefeated this time, but the kids have worked extremely hard, and it's like anything else. You want to get out of the blocks good and get a couple of quality wins early and let it go from there. And it's you got to go out and perform on the field, and that's what the kids are going to have to do. And they realize that fall camp is fall camp, and there's going to be a lot of hard work in there, and we'll see what happens.
Coach, you mentioned the schedule early. Let's talk about it. We have a nice mixture of great teams out of conference and some good teams on the rise coming up out of conference. ODU moving up, the FBS. You have also Rutgers traveling to Rutgers. Let's talk a little about the schedule because it seems like it's a good test of where this team could be, especially moving towards the latter part of the season if we can control what happens at the beginning of the season.
Well, we're starting off with the toughest 1AA game we ever had for an opener at 1AA with the University of Maine. Maine's been in the playoffs 3 of the last 5 years. They've been a strong member of the Colonial Athletic Association, and they're a good, solid football team. They got a lot of guys coming back. They're a real physical football team. So if we can come and beat them at home, that'll be a real quality win, and that's a real confidence builder for us. And of course, you go to Rutgers, and your hands are always full when you're playing a true D1, up there. But then when we come home against Charleston Southern, that's huge, and then our first conference game at Morgan's going to be a key game for us, and they're all going to be tough because Morgan's on the road.
Coach, you'll talk a little bit about what we have coming back. We have a good core group of seniors coming back, led by Joe Hawkins probably, and we talked to Marcus Center earlier. Talk a little about the seniors that you have coming back and what you expect from those guys this year, because they're going to be the catalyst of where this team is going to go.
Well, it is a good group of seniors. Most of them are fifth-year seniors, and of course we get Blake Matthews back too for a 6-year. Which really hurt us last year, losing him at offensive line, and hopefully he'll get to the lineup early in the season. But it's nothing like experience. You're working with guys that are 21, 22 years old, and I think they learned a little lesson last year that nothing's automatic, and don't be reading press clippings. You got to go out and perform every week on the field, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing you're going to see.
Offensively, Coach, of course, you look back at last year where we left points on the board, where we didn't complete drives, and that was one of the biggest concerns for you this offseason. Talk a little about the progression of the offense and where you think they are right now going into that summer camp.
Well, we've changed a few things, and I think the biggest thing is that it's important that the entire offensive unit out here realizes where they are in the field and how we have to protect the football, whether we're coming out of our end zone or going into the end zone, so we don't give up points. And like you said, we can't leave points on the field. We have to be able to finish drives.
Coach, with the new rules in place and with everything that's going on, how do you get to your guys early in summer camp to make sure that they abide by the rules? Because we really don't know how it's going to be implemented in every game. It might be different. How do you get those guys to understand what they have to do now to stay on the field?
Well, you got to educate them, and that'll be one of the first things I talk about in our very first meeting on Sunday night. Will be the new rules, and we'll show them a video of what's legal and not legal. But realize that. You can be aggressive, but you can't be stupid. And by being stupid, you can't not lead with your helmet. If you lead with your helmet and you hit somebody with that crown of the helmet, you're going to be disqualified for that game and part of the next game, depending on what time where he got thrown out of that game. So it's a very severe penalty, and again, it's a call by the officials. It's a judgment call. I thought I saw him, I didn't see him, and that's where the problem comes. The big boys who all have the instant replay, if the guy gets a penalty called on him, they'll replay it up there. So if he did it, they know he did it. At our level, it could be 50-50, so that's kind of scary. So we got to be more aware of that rule and make sure that we're tackling right. And it's the same thing from the offensive side. The offensive player cannot lower his head and try to hit the defensive guy with the crown of his helmet because it's the same rule.
Coach, we talk a little bit about defensively. Again, this is probably the most experienced unit coming back. You gained some young players who in the summer have really shown that they'll be able to compete for some time and help you out on the defensive side of the football. Beyond the names that we know already, talk a little bit about the defense as a whole and how they really gelled coming off of a great season last year.
Well, we have a depth in the defensive line, which is really important. We don't have as much depth as we had last year at linebacker, but our set of linebackers is as good as anybody in the conference, if not better. And our secondary is experienced. We've got some additional help coming in there. So I expect the defense to be extremely strong, but it's a team game. Last year we were third in the nation in total defense. It doesn't mean anything because, we couldn't score points. So it's important for the offense not to put the defense in bad field position. It's important for the defense to get the offense the ball and for the offense to do something. If we do that, then we'll have a very successful football season.
I think for the last couple of years, one of the things that's been a catalyst for this team has been special teams, especially in the area getting 3 points on the board if you can. You lose Everett Goldberg, but you have Ryan Lee, who's been in the fold, and it seems like he's gotten better as he's been here. Talk a little about the kicking game.
Yeah, both a new kicker again, new punter, a new field goal kicker, and again, that first game will be big because they've never kicked in a ball game, and Lee's a little older, he's been around, the job is his. We just want him to try to be as accurate as he can from the 40-yard line in. A 40-yard field goal, I'd be very happy with that. Anything outside of that is a bonus, and he is capable of hitting something from the outside. We have a freshman coming in to be our punter, but Nico Flores is also a punter, so it'll probably be one of those two guys will be a punter for us.
Coach, I guess you don't know much coming into this season. Everything is pretty much unknown, but you know what you want to see out of your team. What is going to be your biggest expectation out of this summer camp going into that first game against Maine?
Well, I'm kind of old school, and the biggest thing we're going to be is physical. I thought we lost a little bit of that last year throughout the ball game and everything, special teams, offense, defense. We got to be more physical, and that's what the game's about, and that's what we're going to be.
Thank you, Coach, for your time. Ross Gordon here at the 2013 Football Media Day here in Norfolk, Virginia, joined by defensive back Marcus Center and first-team All-MEAC pick Joseph Hawkins. To my right, we'll start with Joe. Joe, first of all, congratulations on being named first-team All-MEAC. Let's talk a little bit about what's gotten you to this point. Senior, you've won a championship. You've seen the highs. You've seen the lows. This is your senior season, one of the team's leaders. What are you telling your guys coming into the season to get them up for what you have and the task at hand?
We're just preaching the little things right now. Discipline, dedication, just being motivated, and not to worry about the past and just focus on what's going to happen. A lot of guys, we've all been going hard in the weight room, just working, and it's just really a blessing to still be here and just to still have another opportunity, especially how we finished off last year. And, just for my senior year, I didn't want to go down like how I went down last year. So we're definitely looking real promising this year.
You talk about the end of last season, really picked it up as the season went on, especially offensively, struggled a little bit in the start. How has that helped going into this season, especially offensively?
Well, last two games we won. Offense definitely picked it up and got it moving and got along, got it together and everything. So we're looking forward to keep it moving for next year. So.
This year you have Nico Flores coming back, but you also have some help at the quarterback position. Talk a little bit about the guy who's going to be getting the ball to you guys in those pressure situations. I know Nico was the number one coming out of spring. Talk a little about how the competition has been and how the team has reacted to the quarterbacks that are on campus now.
Nico right now he's the starter, and transfer Bowling Green Malik Stokes, he's been looking real promising this summer. Also Tyler from transfer from ODU, he's been looking real good. So right now I guess we're rolling with Nico, and whoever the coaches decide to put in against Maine, then that's who will be throwing the ball. So
everything's leading up to Maine. The summer has been very good for you guys. A lot of guys stayed around campus, worked out a little bit, tried to get bigger, tried to get stronger, tried to get faster. Personally for you, what have been some of the things you've worked on to be a better tight end?
Definitely the little things as far as blocking, my footwork, catching is second nature, but just the little things, being a better blocker, that's number one, and just having better footwork on the field. So.
We now turn it over to Marcus Center, who, if you ask Coach Adrian and some of the other defensive coaches, you probably had the best year last year of the cornerbacks. Let's talk a little bit about last year, because we saw it a little bit as a sophomore. You struggled a little bit with confidence at times. You would get beaten. You would see it the next play. Last year, it seemed like nothing really deterred you from being the best corner on the team.
Yeah, you go into the off season, you improve as a player. You come back the next year and you try to make a breakout year. It's nothing new. It's the same thing you do every year. As you play football, you progress. As you progress, you get better. You become a team leader, and I feel like I've established myself at that point now.
We talked a little bit earlier about the attention that has been given to the defensive side of the football. You look at the cornerbacks; they've gotten a lot bigger, they've gotten a lot faster from last year, and it's pretty exciting as a senior to see what these young guys can provide. You're going to have a lot of young guys play this year. Talk a little bit about the secondary as a core.
As a core, we have some athletes. We moved Darren Merrill. We moved him from free safety to corner. Great length, great press man, cover corner. Great off man, great tackler. We have Keenan Lambert coming back. Keenan Lambert, as y'all well know, led the team in picks, led the DBs in tackles. He's also a great player. We're trying to fill in that free safety spot, but it's open for grabs. Whoever comes in, steps up and wants it, and then they have it.
Coming back of a defense that was one of the best in the conference and one of the best in the country last year, how do you keep your guys understanding of what the tradition here has started to become at Norfolk State, especially on the defensive side of the football?
In order to keep in line with the tradition, you just let everyone understand that we're an aggressive defense. We play hard, we play fast, we have a lot of energy. We won't get scored on. That's what we take pride in. That's what we play for. We're great tacklers. So as long as we stay out there and maintain that focus, then I think we'll be okay. You don't get wavered by a big play. You just keep playing the game. And 60 minutes is a very long game.
We talked a little bit about the depth, especially at the defensive back position, about how many guys are going to play in the secondary. Talk a little about what that does for you guys as a team, because it keeps you guys fresh and you can take a play off and you don't have to worry about the drop-off.
Well, as you know, football is becoming more of a passing game every day. So with depth, then that allows us to be able to come out for a series, to get a rest, to be able to match up with 8-9 receivers that are playing, that are freshly rotating in. We have a lot of depth, really, with Nat Turner-Harris. We have Andre Bean. We have a lot of players that can really step in and help us and be effective players, and not just be a player that you're putting on the field.
Again, you're one of those guys who won the championship. You've seen some of the highs, you've seen some of the lows as a Spartan. Talk a little about what are the big keys for you coming into this year to make sure that you guys get to that place where you were a few years back.
The biggest thing that I feel that we get to the place where we were is discipline. Discipline would get us a long way. We had the MEAC conference with the officials yesterday, and they said that 57% of the fouls in the MEAC were discipline fouls, which mean offsides, false start. And I feel if we could cut a lot of those out, then we can make a lot of plays just from a mental aspect.
We are at the 2013 Football Media Day. Ross Gordon joined by Marcus Center and Joseph Hawkins. We'll talk with Coach Adrian later, but we'll get now finally from Joe and Marcus. At the end of the season, what do you want to see from this football team?
I just want to see us being successful, definitely winning the MEAC, and as a team just going deep into the playoffs, and hopefully our ultimate goal is definitely winning the national championship.
As we turn to Marcus, what do you want to see from your team this year?
I want to see growth. I would love to see us win the MEAC, and of course, when we make it to the playoffs, I would love to see us make some noise. I know a MEAC team hasn't won a playoff game in quite some time now. I would love to see us get into the playoffs and really shake something up and really give people a run for their money.
Again, we want to thank Coach Pete Adrian as well as Joe Hawkins and Marcus Center for their help here today at the 2013 MEAC Press Luncheon here in downtown Norfolk. Don't forget that the Spartans kick off on August 31st at Dick Price Stadium as they take on the University of Maine. Kickoff time is at 6:00 p.m. We have a lot more to come up for you, including more on NSUSpartans.com. This is just the beginning, and we're excited about the beginning and hopefully excited about the new things that are going to come on NSUSpartans.com as well, fueled by Gatorade. I'm Ross Gordon. Thank you for watching NSUSpartans.com.